Hello everyone and welcome to Radiant School. My name is Logical Edis and this is the 4th episode in Season 1 where we'll be building a log cabin in the woods as a zombies map. I just want to say a quick note. I've been working on this map in between recordings, so if it looks any different, that's why. But don't worry, I haven't added in anything that I haven't covered yet. Anyway, in today's episode, I'll be covering how to create patches, how to edit those patches, how to paint textures, how to create shapes, and how to make archways. Let's get started. So here we are in Radiant, and the first thing we're going to want to do is drag out a brush in our grid view. Now to create a patch, you simply go up to Patch, Terrain, Simple Terrain Patch. And this is going to bring up a terrain density window. And it's going to ask how many vertices do you want width-wise and height-wise. So let's go width. Let's make it 6. And we'll make the height 6. We'll click OK, and you can see that it creates a patch with 6 by 6 vertices. Now, what we could realize if we go underneath, that the patch only texturizes one side. Now, to fix that, if we press Ctrl I, that will invert the patch and the texture will flip. But we want it on ground level for now, so we can see it right here. So we'll keep it right here. Now, say we have another brush right next to it, but we only want these two sides to be a patch, and we don't want the whole thing to be a patch. Well, really quickly, we could just hold down Shift and Control to select faces. You could select as many as you want. Let's select these 3. Let's go to Patch, Terrain, Faces to Terrain, and we'll have all patches of our faces. And if we hide that, delete our brush, and unhide it, you can see that it is a perfect match of our faces that just were turned into patches. Now, what you can notice is that it's not 6 by 6 like the same as our patch over here. And now to do that, we're going to want to press V to bring up the vertices of all of our patches, or just the one we selected. Let us also select this one. So we have both of these selected. Now we can go over and drag like this, press Ctrl A, and that will create another vertex in the middle of these two. Now we don't want this one to have any, so let's select that. Let's only select the top face for now. And if we just do this for all sides, we can see that we now have 5 by 5. And it's not going to line up with the 6 by 6, but you get the idea of how to create more vertices. Now, say we don't want this in the middle right here. We don't want these to be lined up in the same exact patch. We want these two sides to be different patches altogether. So if we go into a vertices and we select the middle, if we press Ctrl Shift X, that will split the patch. Just like that, really easily, it will split the patch. And let's drag this out. Let's make this a little higher. Now, say we want this patch to be lined up with this patch, but you can see they're different heights and kind of far away. Well, let's select our parent patch and our child patch. Let's select V on our keyboard. If we just select these two vertices and press W to weld, you can see that the child patch links up with the parent patch. And it creates it at the perfect exact angle. It welds it to the vertices. And this is really helpful for making terrain and stuff like that. So with our cabin map, we have this grass texture. Now we don't want the same exact texture everywhere. We want a blend of dirt, mud, and other things. So if we just do Control Shift and left click on our face of the big brush, and let's patch terrain, faces to terrain, we can see that we created our patch. And let's actually go up to terrain, simple terrain patch, and let's just add 25 verts on the width and 25 verts on the height. Let's click OK. And you can see it change it to the stone texture, which of course we don't want. We want this to be a dirt texture. But in order to make it a reveal texture and make it paintable with alpha, you're going to want to find a lit decal reveal or a lit transparent texture. So if we go to this one right here, you can see that it overlaps the grass. However, if you press Y on your keyboard, this will bring up the advanced patch editing options. And if you make the paint height, we deselect that, but we click Z. We make it flatten. We go down here to alpha, and you could change your inner radius, your outer radius, and amplitude to whichever you like. And if you hold down Alt and left click, it will disable and get rid of the dirt just like that. And if you right click while holding Alt, it will paint it back on. And it goes over by the verts. You know, it depends on how many verts you have to amount of detail you want. So if we like lower the amplitude a lot, it will be slower to get rid of and slower to put in for the texture itself. So say we have vertices that we only want to be no texture there whatsoever. Say we want this whole portion to be strictly grass, no dirt. Well, there's a hard way to do it, which is, you know, the paint tool. We could just paint all of this regularly like that, but that'll take a while. Or if we click V and drag all these verts, if we click G on our keyboard, this will bring up the G vertex color alpha editing tab. And if we bring the value all the way down to 0 and we click alpha, click apply, you could see that everything we've selected has a 0 alpha. And if we just drag along, you could see what we could do with this, and you can make this really precise. Say you want 166 or you want it 31. This gives you so many possibilities. So say you want to create some pipes using patches. Well, they actually have a cylinder tool. So if you create a brush like so, and we'll make it a little higher. Let's actually give this not a lit decal reveal. Let's give it a regular lit. If we go into patch primitives cylinder, you could tell that it created a cylinder, but we created it the wrong way because we're looking at it through the XZ front. We want it to go up and down. So if we go to our top, press Ctrl Z, and we'll do the same exact thing, it will create a cylinder like so. And say it's a little too rough around the edges, you want a little more smoother. If you hold Shift and close bracket, you could see that it actually creates more vertices and creates more smoother. And you can go for open bracket. Sorry. If you click the open bracket, it will actually decrease in vertices. So this is helpful for creating vistas or close up of pipes and such like that. Well, really could be anything. Your possibilities are limitless. Now, say we want to bend this cylinder. If we just click V, we could select the vertices, and just like so, we could drag around. Now, there's multiple shapes that we have in our selection. We have a square bevel, an end cap, square end cap, cylinder, dense cylinder, very dense cylinder, square cylinder, cone, and terrain triangle. Now, I'm not going to go over all of these, but what I am going to go over is how to create archways, which is an end cap, like so. Now, the texture is facing the wrong way. We want on the inside, so let's press Ctrl I to flip the texture. And let's really quickly just drag out a little area so it looks normal. Okay, but now we have this space in between, and we don't want to fill that up with brushes. We want to fill it up with a patch. Well, it's really easy. If you just select your archway, we go to patch and cap. This will bring up this little window, and we select what we want. So we want an inverted end cap for this specific brush. Patch, sorry. Let's click OK. And just like that, it creates those patches. And if you could do the same thing, you could do the open bracket or close bracket to give it more detail. So say we want a trim around this, and to do that, it's really easy. We'll take our arch and we'll just drag it out like so. We'll make it smaller because, you know, it's just a trim. And let's go to patch thicken. And this is going to bring up, and it's going to ask you how many units you want it to be thickened. You can go up to 32, you have a 2. We're just going to keep it at 8, and we want seams. So let's click OK. And just like that, it creates a thick patch. And we could just increase the vertices. And then, you know, we'll go into our grid, and we'll make it look nice like so. Now, I covered pretty much all the basics of patches, but this is a very advanced tool that we have to create maps. Now, really quickly, I'm just going to do a time lapse so you could see what I do with the knowledge that I have and my imagination that I want with patches and all this other stuff. Now, you could do this with decals, with dirt, with metal, pretty much every single texture that you have in every brush. You could use a decal and patches to add in detail. Now, this could take hours upon hours of doing, but just for the sake of this, I'm going to work on this for an hour or two, and we'll be back with the outro. So let's go into the time lapse. So here we are in the time lapse. Now this is my second time recording this because I forgot to change microphones, and I was not using my good quality microphone. I was using my headset microphone, which is cool. This is going to be a little unconventional time-lapse voiceover because I'm not watching the time-lapse, as every time I do it with an After Effects, the audio doesn't sync up with the video because the video just is slower than real time. We're already at the 30-second mark, and if I were to watch this, it's probably at the 10-second mark. But I'm going to try and keep it on with what I'm doing. So the first 30 seconds of this is me just going into the cabin and putting detail on the floor with some patches and stuff like that. Just some debris, some mud and blood and footprints and stuff like that. Going along, I'm in the outside. I should be around here. And I took 9 patches and I threw them all together. I stitched them up using W, and then I just went over and raised the height. Now, this is one thing I didn't cover in the tutorial, and I'm just gonna put it in a text overlay or something like that. But if you just untick alpha while painting, you could change the height if you do the X, Y, Z, and you can create some mountains and stuff like that, some hills. And I really apologize for not going over that. I'm gonna have to write that in the description or something. So yeah, but the only thing that I haven't covered besides that was this clip right here. I'm working on the water, and it's really simple to do. I'll go over that in a future tutorial when we go over clips and what every clip is and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that. I actually have 2 tutorials coming out today, which is something I don't usually do. So it's going to be this tutorial and then one coming out in a couple hours, which is cool. So, yeah, so moving on, what I'm doing now is taking all the faces of the outside cabin, turning it into a patch, and just adding some detail, some scratches in the wood, some dirt on the bottom, and then I go around and I add some models. Even though this tutorial is all about patches, I was like, you know, that would look nice if I had some vines all over the house, and that's what I did. And then I added some clips, which again on the staircase, which I'll have to talk about in a future tutorial. But anyway, that's pretty much it. The last thing I do here is just add some blood on the staircase, and that's gonna wrap up this time lapse. So hope you are enjoying the video. I have like 5 seconds I have to kill, but yeah, see you in the outro. This was a lengthy tutorial, but it's worth talking about early on in our Radiant School episodes. The sooner you learn and understand patches and everything they have to offer, your detailing skills will increase tenfold. Patches are a little complex, but the possibilities are limitless. Let's have a quick recap of what was talked about in the tutorial. We created patches, edited those patches, went over painting with patches and what alpha and lit reveal textures are, how to create some basic shapes and edit them, how to create archways and bevels, how to thicken patches, and how to cap some patches. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit the like button. Also subscribe if you haven't already, and click the notification bell to get notified of when new videos are posted. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Radiant School.